Farmers across America are reaching a breaking point, and John Deere is at the heart of the storm. Company, once celebrated as a pioneer in agricultural progress, is now drawing sharp criticism for policies that many say are hurting the very people it once served. Farmers are grappling with a new kind of challenge, one they never expected, and it's changing the way they operate while raising alarm bells across the farming community. So how did a brand that once stood for trust and innovation lose its way? Can John Deere bounce back from the backlash? And what could this mean for the food we eat? So, what's going on? The truth is, what many Americans don't realize is that John Deere, a name long associated with farming freedom, is now seen by many as a symbol of restriction and control. John Deere was more than a company. It was a cornerstone of American farming. It all began back in 1837 when blacksmith John Deere invented the steel plow, an innovation that revolutionized agriculture by making it possible to break through the tough soil of the Midwest. That tool didn't just change farming, it transformed barren land into fertile fields. Farmers saw John Deere as an ally in their mission to feed the world, and the brand's signature green and yellow machines became fixtures on farms across the country. For generations, John Deere stood for durability, dependability, and independence. Its equipment wasn't just functional, it was foundational. Owning a Deere machine meant you were part of a proud tradition rooted in self-sufficiency and grit. But over the years, that bond began to fracture. In more recent times, the company has shifted away from empowering farmers and moved toward exerting more control over them. What began as helpful innovations, such as GPS-enabled tractors, smart sensors, and precision farming tools, have morphed into systems of restriction. The same technology that once promised efficiency and higher yields now comes with strings attached. Today, Deere's software and digital ecosystems are tightly locked, making it nearly impossible for farmers to service their own equipment. This shift has turned many loyal customers into critics. Farmers who once viewed the company as a partner now feel undermined by the very machines they depend on. The independence they once had is being replaced with a reliance on corporate oversight, and that's where the real sense of betrayal begins. So, how did John Deere, once a champion of farmer freedom, become a gatekeeper? Let's look closer at the policies fueling this controversy. The right to repair. A fight for independence. Imagine buying something only to be told you're not allowed to fix it. It sounds ridiculous, yet that's exactly the issue at the core of the right to repair movement, a battle that's ignited frustration in rural America. Farmers spend hundreds of thousands of dollars on agricultural machinery, tractors, combines, planters, believing they're investing in tools they can maintain. Repairing your own equipment was once a proud part of farming culture. It wasn't just about saving money, it was about resourcefulness, skill, and autonomy. But with John Deere's newer models, that's no longer possible. The machines come locked down with proprietary software that prevents owners from diagnosing or repairing them without access to Deere's systems, something only authorized technicians have. Even straightforward fixes, like changing out a sensor or replacing a battery, now require calling in a certified repair service. This has led to inflated costs and debilitating delays. Repairs that once took hours can now take days or even weeks, especially during critical periods like planting or harvesting. And when timing is everything, these delays aren't just inconvenient, they're devastating. For farmers, downtime means lost yields and lost income. John Deere argues these restrictions protect its software and ensure safety, but farmers believe that's just a convenient cover. They see it as a power grab, one that creates a cycle of dependency on the company and strips them of control over their own property. And why should this matter to you? Because when farmers can't work efficiently, the entire food chain suffers. Disruptions at the farm level trickle down to the grocery store and your table. But this isn't the end of the story. Farmers are starting to push back, and to understand why this matters, we need to look at how John Deere's control doesn't just inconvenience, it creates economic pressure. The economic toll of control. Here's where things get serious. John Deere's dominance might be slipping, and the consequences are affecting more than just the farmers. The financial impact of Deere's restrictive repair policies doesn't stop with individual farmers. It ripples throughout the entire agricultural sector. When farmers are forced to deal with long waits and sky-high repair bills, the effects can be severe. Crops get delayed, fields go untouched, harvests are missed. This translates into real-world consequences: lower crop output, tighter supply, and ultimately, higher prices for consumers. Consider the story of one Iowa farmer who lost an entire soybean crop because his harvester sat idle for 2 weeks, waiting for a certified repair that never came in time. This is why the John Deere Controversy isn't just a niche farming issue, it's a nationwide concern. When those who grow our food are pushed into a corner, we all end up paying the price. Farmers are fed up, and John Deere is in the crosshairs. Farmers across the United States are reaching a breaking point, and all eyes are on John Deere. Once hailed as a pioneer in agricultural innovation, the company now finds itself under intense scrutiny for policies many see as overreaching. What was once a trusted partnership between farmers and Deere has soured into frustration and resistance. But how did it come to this? Can John Deere rebuild that lost trust, and what might this upheaval mean for the food we all rely on? A shift from freedom to control to many Americans, John Deere symbolized farming freedom. Its legacy began in 1837, when blacksmith John Deere created the first steel plow, an innovation that changed farming forever. That tool turned difficult Midwestern soil into fertile fields, and with it, John Deere became a partner in farmers' prosperity. Its green and yellow machines became icons of the land, synonymous with grit, independence, and durability. For generations, owning a John Deere machine meant you were part of something bigger, a lineage of hard-working farmers who valued self-reliance. But in recent years, that legacy has been challenged. What once felt like empowerment now feels more like control. At first, the company's adoption of advanced tech, like GPS-driven tractors and smart sensors, seemed like progress. But these innovations came with limitations. Proprietary software and system locks began to tie farmers' hands. Instead of enabling independence, Deere's new systems made farmers dependent on authorized service technicians for even the simplest repairs. This technological control has severely eroded trust. Longtime customers now feel manipulated by AIG, company they helped make successful. The result? A growing sense of betrayal as autonomy gives way to corporate overreach. The right to repair. Imagine spending hundreds of thousands of dollars on machinery, only to be told you can't fix it yourself. That's the core of the right to repair movement. Historically, farmers took pride in maintaining their own equipment. Fixing a broken part wasn't just a necessity, it was a tradition, a sign of competence and resilience. But today, software, locks and digital gatekeeping mean only certified technicians can make repairs. Simple fixes now result in major downtime and inflated service bills. A job that used to take hours might now stretch to days or weeks. And during critical planting or harvesting periods, time is everything. John Deere says these restrictions protect their software and keep users safe. But many farmers see these explanations as little more than corporate spin, excuses to tighten control and squeeze out profits. And the consequences ripple outward. Delays in equipment repairs mean missed planting and harvesting windows. That leads to lower crop yields, which in turn drives up prices across the food chain. Consumers end up paying more for staples, all because a repair couldn't be made in time. Economic pressure. Mounts, the financial fallout from these practices is widespread. When a farmer in Iowa lost an entire field of soybeans because of a broken-down harvester, the loss wasn't his alone. It contributed to higher soybean prices for everyone. Compounding the issue is the lack of affordable alternatives. Farmers strapped with high repair costs often must either stick with outdated equipment or take on more debt to replace it. For smaller farms, that burden can be crushing, pushing many toward financial collapse. Meanwhile, John Deere's reputation is taking a hit. Once viewed as an ally, the company is increasingly seen as a roadblock. Many farmers are now exploring other brands, seeking out competitors that offer more open repair systems and less red tape. The discontent is spreading, and the agricultural world is starting to take notice. A growing movement, what began as scattered frustration, has evolved into a full-fledged movement for change. At the heart of it is a basic demand: give farmers the right to fix what they own. Farmers argue that buying a machine should mean full ownership, including the ability to access and service its software and systems. They're not looking to pirate software or reverse-engineer tech. They just want the freedom to keep their equipment running. The resistance started in private, farmers venting to one another, sharing stories of unnecessary delays and rising costs. But momentum grew fast. Consumer rights groups and tech reform advocates joined in, amplifying their voices and pushing for legislative solutions. The first win. Colorado leads the way in 2022. A major breakthrough arrived. Colorado passed the first agricultural right-to-repair law in the U.S., requiring companies like John Deere to provide access to diagnostic tools, manuals, and parts. This landmark legislation was more than a policy shift. It was a victory for farmers who felt ignored and powerless. It also inspired other states to consider similar laws, broadening the conversation to include consumer rights and corporate accountability. For many farmers, it felt like validation. After years of feeling unheard, they finally had proof that change was possible, but the fight was just beginning. The corporate pushback. Of course, powerful companies don't give up control easily. In response to Colorado's new law, John Deere and similar firms doubled down on lobbying efforts to prevent similar legislation elsewhere. Their argument? That open repair systems would lead to safety risks, intellectual property theft, and misuse of advanced machinery. But farmers see these claims as fear tactics meant to protect profits, not people. They counter that safety issues can be handled through training and that very few farmers are interested in tampering with proprietary tech. They just want to do their jobs. For small-scale farmers, this isn't just a fight for convenience. It's about survival. When a machine sits idle for days during harvest, the financial consequences can be devastating. Every hour lost is money gone, and for some, that loss can mean bankruptcy. New competitors. Step in as. John Deere clings to its closed systems. Other manufacturers are moving in. Brands like Kubota, AGCO, and CNH Industrial are offering more repair-friendly options, capitalizing on the dissatisfaction and positioning themselves as farmer-first alternatives. These challengers may not have the legacy of John Deere, but they're gaining loyalty where it matters most, on the ground, in the fields, with farmers who are done waiting for permission to turn a wrench. Rising. Alternatives to John Deere. Take Kubota, for instance. Its compact, multifunctional tractors have gained popularity among small-scale farmers. These machines are not only budget-friendly, but also come with policies that let owners repair and maintain them on their own. For farmers who feel alienated by John Deere's tight control, Kubota's customer-first approach is a refreshing change. AGCO, the parent company of brands like Fendt and Massey Ferguson, is following a similar path. By embracing transparency and supporting farmers' right to repair, AGCO has attracted a growing base of John Deere defectors. Their equipment is competitively priced and repair tools are easier to access, an appealing proposition for farmers seeking dependable machines without restrictive strings attached. Meanwhile, CNH Industrial, owner of Case IH and New Holland, is pushing forward with advanced precision agriculture technology. Their innovations rival John Deere's offerings, but come without the burdensome repair restrictions, a difference that farmers are increasingly noticing. Even Caterpillar, traditionally known for construction equipment, is stepping into the agricultural market. With a well-established dealer network and a customer-oriented strategy, it's becoming a serious player in this evolving space. All of these shifts are reshaping the agricultural machinery landscape, something few predicted. And they raise serious questions about John Deere's future. The competition is just getting started, and the impact could reach far beyond just one company. The erosion of John Deere's empire. John Deere's dominance in the farming industry is waning, and not just because of new competition. Once the gold standard for reliability and innovation, the company now faces a growing wave of farmer dissatisfaction, especially around its restrictive repair policies. These frustrations are translating into real financial consequences. In Q3 of 2024, John Deere reported a stunning 27.6% drop in sales from the previous year, far worse than the 15.8% average decline seen by its competitors. What once seemed impossible, farmers walking away from John Deere, is now a growing trend. At its core, this isn't just about sales. It's about lost trust. Farmers feel abandoned by a company they once relied on, and rivals like Kubota, AGCO, and CNH are stepping in with more repair-friendly options and user-focused technology. The shift is clear, and it could be catastrophic for John Deere. And the ripple effects, they go far beyond just one corporation's bottom line. The broader economic consequences. When farmers struggle, the pain spreads through entire communities. John Deere's restrictive practices have triggered a chain reaction that affects not only local economies, but also the national food supply. Picture a Midwestern farmer unable to harvest their corn due to a broken combine. That delay lowers yield, which reduces supply for food processors. Prices go up, and ultimately, consumers pay more at the store for essentials like bread, cereal, and meat. Rural communities suffer even more. Family farms are central to small-town economies. When farmers are forced to spend more on equipment, repairs, or replacements, they invest less in their towns. Local suppliers, hardware stores, and service providers take the hit, weakening the region's overall economy. These financial strains also harm farmers' mental health. Many already live with tight margins and immense pressure. Adding repair restrictions only increases the risk of burnout, anxiety, and depression, fueling a rural mental health crisis. This isn't just a farming issue, it's a global one. As the financial fallout intensifies, the human cost becomes even clearer. A fight for survival. For many farmers, John Deere's policies are more than a nuisance. They're a threat to survival. Delays during planting or harvest season can mean the loss of an entire year's income. Combine that with the skyrocketing costs of machinery and repairs, and you get a dangerous situation. Take Sarah, a dairy farmer in Wisconsin. When her milking machine broke, John Deere's policies prevented her from fixing it herself or hiring a local mechanic. She had to wait nearly 2 weeks for an authorized technician. Her milk production tanked, costing her thousands. The experience wasn't just financially painful, it highlighted just how powerless many farmers have become. This issue goes beyond just money, it's about dignity. Farmers who once prided themselves on being self-reliant now feel powerless under corporate policies that tightly control every part of their work. For small-scale farmers, already operating on very slim margins, the situation is critical. Many are being forced out of the business altogether, unable to compete with larger operations that can better absorb costs. The consequences extend far beyond individual farms. When small farms close, local and regional food supplies suffer. Communities lose access to fresh, affordable produce, and agricultural diversity diminishes. But the fight isn't over. Farmers are taking action. The battle over repair rights has moved into courtrooms and legislative halls as the stakes continue to rise. Legal battles and corporate control. Why is John Deere so resistant to granting farmers repair rights? The legal conflict over the right to repair has become a clash of principles. Farmers argue they should be free to fix the equipment they own, while John Deere claims that opening up repair tools and software would risk safety and intellectual property theft. But beneath these stated concerns lies a bigger issue. Control. John Deere's refusal to share repair tools isn't only about protecting its software, it's about holding a monopoly on repairs. By forcing farmers to use authorized services, the company ensures a steady revenue stream. This isn't merely about safety or innovation, it's about maintaining profits. Farmers and advocacy groups have challenged these restrictive policies in court, accusing them of being anti-competitive and exploitative. Some progress has been made, but the battle continues. Meanwhile, John Deere invests heavily in lobbying to block right-to-repair laws and slow down reform efforts. However, momentum is shifting. Farmers are gaining support from unlikely allies, including consumer rights groups and tech companies, pushing for broader repair freedoms. This growing coalition is pressuring lawmakers for meaningful change. This sets the stage for a pivotal showdown that could transform the industry. As the fight over repair rights heats up, one question looms. What will the future of farming look like? A new agricultural era? What if the future of farming isn't just about tractors, but about freedom? The right to repair movement has ignited a wider debate about agriculture's future. For decades, progress has meant ever more advanced tractors, precision tools, and smart equipment. Now, farmers and experts are rethinking what true innovation means. At its heart, this movement is about restoring balance. Farmers no longer want to be passive users locked into proprietary systems, they want to regain independence. Open-source platforms and third-party repair options are emerging as real alternatives to closed corporate ecosystems. Imagine a future where farmers can access universal repair tools, diagnostics, and parts for any equipment they own. This isn't just wishful thinking, it's becoming a reality. This shift redefines agriculture fundamentally. Instead of depending on a few large corporations, farmers could collaborate with independent innovators and local repair networks. The future might blend autonomy and efficiency, allowing farmers to solve problems on their own terms. Such a future could level the playing field, restoring the independence farmers have long fought to protect. But what lessons can be learned from companies already embracing these values? Let's take a look. Lessons. From competitors, sometimes your best lessons come from rivals. While John Deere struggles with fallout from its restrictive policies, competitors have taken different approaches that earn farmer trust and loyalty. Kubota, for example, has made strong progress by focusing on small-scale farmers with versatile, affordable compact tractors. Their repair policies empower farmers to maintain their own equipment, appealing especially to those alienated by John Deere. AGCO, the parent company of Massey Ferguson and Fendt, also emphasizes farmer independence. They're competitively priced, machines come with transparent, straightforward repair procedures, allowing farmers to perform maintenance without excessive corporate barriers. This strategy has helped AGCO steadily grow its market share, particularly among farmers seeking alternatives to John Deere. Meanwhile, CNH Industrial, owner of Case IH and New Holland, is investing heavily in cutting-edge technologies like advanced precision agriculture systems. These innovations compete directly with John Deere's offerings, but come without the same restrictive repair policies.